Hey guys, in the last video that you just saw, you saw how the BLS, or the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, categorizes the different types of employment from employed, not in the labor force, and the unemployed. So I want to quickly go over the fact that the people that are not in the labor force, this is going to be like your stay-at-home caregiver, like a stay-at-home mom, people that are in like military and like active, like they're on active duty. They're not considered unemployed because they're not looking for a job. People that are retired, people that are under the age of 16, even if it's like a 15-year-old looking for a job, because they're under the age of 16, they're not part of the labor force just yet. These people don't count towards the unemployment rate. So they don't make the unemployment rate bigger or smaller, they just don't count. If you look at the screen, you see that there are 4 types of unemployment. Remember, this is over the age of 16, without a job, and actively looking. The video talked about 3. It talked about frictional, structural, and cyclical. It did not mention seasonal unemployment. This is going to be your seasonal worker, from lifeguard to like a department store Santa to your fireworks stand. It's totally okay if a department store Santa does not have a job in like March. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with the economy. If you sell fireworks and you're out of a job in, let's say, March again, once again, it's totally okay. So there are 3 types of unemployment that will always be happening at any given time. And that's frictional, people that have the skills that are looking for a job; structural, people that don't have the skills and maybe need to be retrained and they're looking for a job; and seasonal, it's just the wrong time of the year. It's when you have that cyclical unemployment that it becomes a problem. And so we consider full and cyclical unemployment, if you remember, that was if like the economic downturns of the economy. So think of the business cycle when you're going on a downward slope, whether it's a recession, contraction, or at the very bottom was a trough. If you lose your job because of downturn in the economy, that's cyclical unemployment. So it's totally okay to have those first 3, frictional, structural, and seasonal. It's when you have cyclical that becomes a problem. So in a regular, normal economy that's not in a recession, you'll have the first 3, frictional, structural, seasonal, and that is what we consider full employment, when we only have those 3. And that ranges between 4 to 6%. So at any given time, the economy will have 4 to 6% of frictional, structural, and seasonal unemployment. Anytime we get above 6% unemployment, we now know that we have cyclical unemployment. We now know we're at the beginnings of a recession. And so we consider full employment, not 0% unemployment, because that's not possible. Like communist countries, when everyone works for the government, they have 0% unemployment. But in our economy, 4 to 6% is the natural rate of unemployment. So you can see here, I say it here, 4 to 6% of unemployment is considered the natural rate of unemployment. Anything above 6% is going to be cyclical. So if I have 7% total unemployment, I know that I have at least 1% of cyclical unemployment. And then there's this idea of Okun's Law. And Okun's Law states that there's a relationship between GDP and unemployment. It says for every 1% of unemployment we have above that natural rate. So natural rate of unemployment is 4 to 6%. If we have 1% above that, GDP is actually going to fall by 2%. So if unemployment goes from, let's say, 8% to 9% of unemployment, our GDP will fall by 2%. So it's a 1 to 2% ratio. And it works in reverse as well. If unemployment was to fall by 1%, then GDP is going to increase by 2. And it mentioned discouraged worker in the video, and it pops up every once and again on AP exams. But remember, discouraged worker is not a worker at all. They're not working. They are so they're so discouraged in the economy that they just give up looking, because what's the point? No one's hiring. And because they give up looking, they're no longer considered unemployed anymore, because they actually make the unemployment rate fall because they're no longer unemployed, because they're not looking for a job. And so they say that during the Great Depression, the technical unemployment percentage was 25%. But if they had counted discouraged workers, all those people that, what's the point of even applying? I'm not going to get the job because there's like 15,000 people applying for this one position. What's the point? The unemployment rate should have been closer to about 50% instead of 25, because discouraged workers don't count towards the unemployment rate. There are a couple of equations that it gave you, or I think it gave you one in the actual video that you just watched, but I'm going to give you a couple more. There's just the labor force is the employed, people that have a job, and the unemployed. Remember, unemployed is the 4 types: frictional, seasonal, structural, and cyclical. So all those together is the labor force. If you want to figure out what the unemployment rate is, this was what was given to you in the video. It's the unemployed divided by the labor force times 100. It's giving you a percentage of the labor force that's unemployed. But sometimes, I've seen this on FRQs every once in a while. They'll give you like a little table, and then they ask for the labor force participation. This question is asking what percentage of the population is actually in the labor force. So you're going to take the entire labor force, that employed plus unemployed, and divide it by the whole population. So population, that's going to include babies and grandparents and military. It's going to include everybody. But not everyone that's in the population is over the age of 16 with a job or without looking. So labor force divided by population times 100. So here's just an example chart that they give you that they might ask, what's the unemployment rate of 1 year? What is the employment rate? They might ask for labor force participation rate, or what is the labor force? So be prepared to answer these questions about the labor force. I believe there's a question up here. So here's just like, what is the labor force question? If I can move myself somewhere else. The labor force is defined as, remember, not everyone's considered in the labor force. Only people that are employed and people that are unemployed. So, okay, which is C. It's kind of wordy. It says individuals who are working, that's the employed, looking for a job, or not working and looking for a job. No, that's not right. There's a comma wrong. Oh, it's just A. Okay. The idea of individuals who are working and looking for a job, that they're employed. And I can't read. C is totally wrong. The more that I read it, the more I realize, okay, it's A. They're working, or I'm assuming it says and not working, looking for a job. This one's kind of worded funny, but this is an AP question. So be prepared for wordy questions that don't make sense sometimes. And then it says, Joe recently graduated from college with a degree in history. He is discouraged that he will not find a job due to tough economic times. He decided to not actively pursue a job and wait for the economy to be better. Joe is, he is a discouraged worker. He is not working. He's not even trying. So he's not unemployed, because you have to be looking for a job to be considered unemployed. So all these A, B, C, D of the idea of, he's unemployed. He's not, because he gives up hope. He's not looking. He is discouraged, and discouraged workers are not part of the labor force. So it is E on this question. Okay, so hopefully this unemployment is pretty simple about what the types are, the equations to solve for it, and you have a little quizzes at the end of this that you will be working with. And the quizzes is really good. Has great AP style questions, a little bit of math thrown in there, and then also ties back to some other stuff. So make sure you're looking at that and taking that, and good luck. And I will see you guys later. Bye.